Saving your marriage or turning around your marriage is very much like baking a cake where you need to put in many different ingredients. There are certain ingredients which are absolutely vital. Baking powder, for example. In this video, we're going to talk about what is the baking powder of turning around your marriage. Towards the end of the video, I'm also going to share with you some important ideas you need to know as you go about the process of transforming your marriage. I've spoken to several men recently who shared with me what they were doing to turn around their marriage. The truth is, some of what they were doing was actually helpful, but they were missing some key pieces. And the missing ingredient is that there is very little to zero attention being paid to what is actually keeping her stuck. So you could be doing a lot of good things for the relationship, theoretically, like trying to keep her emotionally safe, not criticizing her, sharing or expressing appreciation to her, being kind and helpful, buying her flowers, asking her out for date nights, etc. The problem is that the things that would have worked theoretically for a marriage in the beginning are not the same things that are going to turn around a marriage. Similarly to the fact that if you have a serious health crisis, God forbid, high blood sugar, cholesterol, heart issues, things that you could have done to prevent that medical situation is not going to be the same to turn around the problem once it's there. Similarly, in a marriage, the things that theoretically could have given you a pretty good relationship is not going to help you rebuild that relationship and save it if it's on the brink of divorce. Even if the brink of divorce is something which is mental in your wife's mind, it's something that she's seriously considering, you're still going to have the same challenge. You have to do new things, specific things to turn around your marriage. And the missing ingredient that I've seen both when guys are trying to do this on their own and in many of the programs out there is there's no real attention being paid to getting accurate information in terms of what is the picture of the husband in his wife's mind. How does she see you? I'll give you an example. If you were in a restaurant and you saw a cat acting as a waiter, you would know that it was trained. As bizarre as it sounds, you wouldn't feel that this cat actually cares about you. You would know that this cat is just doing an act it was trained to do. Similarly, in a marriage, you could be doing things for your wife and showing up as a waiter, being giving and loving and kind, but she can still see you as a cat. She can still see you as acting. And that's an important critical image that a woman sees. When that sets into a relationship, it's not enough to just be kind. It's not enough to be considerate and respectful. It's not enough to just spend time and buy flowers and gifts and just try to keep her safe. It takes very specific critical things you need to do to turn around the relationship. And in order to do that, you first have to have clarity on what it is about me that makes her so stuck. What is it that I'm doing right now that makes her think that I can change? There's a certain image she has of you, which is accumulated over time based on many years in the relationship. And it could be things that you are doing right now that is feeding that wrong image, which is making her withdraw, which is making her not trust, which is making her not open up. Or it could be just things that happened in the past that she's still stuck because those things cemented into her brain. My point is, it is vital to have an accurate picture of what it is about you that she sees. What are the things that you say or do which triggers that in her? Because if you don't understand that, not only will your efforts not work, they will also backfire because you will end up doing too much. When you end up doing too much, you very often look controlling or desperate. When she sees you as controlling or desperate, she no longer sees you as her husband, as her man. She sees you as that image of that faker, of the actor, of the cat. But this is vital. You cannot build a house without this foundation. You cannot have any marriage transformation strategy, whether it's something that you are doing on your own or you're doing it being guided by a therapist, counselor, or coach. You have to understand what is that picture. It's a very specific picture. And when you have that, it sets you free because when you have that, you know what to say, when to say it. There are a couple of other pieces you need as well. There are phases, there are sequences, and I'll give you a link to the 5 phases of turning on your marriage. Check out all 3 links: the marriage cancer, the cat and the waiter, which is essentially the subconscious communication video. Those 3 videos are vital. They'll give you some clarity on what is going on in your relationship right now. But when you have that clarity, you have a foundation, you have clarity on what that image is, you then are in a position to start going to the next phase of, okay, what do I do about it? Without that, you're not going to go anywhere. Point in case, 5 love languages. You may have heard me talk about it in other videos. If your wife wants quality time, the problem is if you have marriage cancer, if she has the wrong picture of you stuck in her mind, If she sees you based on the person you used to be in the past, she may want quality time, but it won't be with you. It may be with her friends, it may be with her kids, her parents, it may even, God forbid, be with another man, but it won't be with you. So you trying to push quality time when you don't truly understand the image she has of you stuck in her head, which is holding her back. If you don't have that, it's like trying to go into surgery without an x-ray. You have to truly understand what you're up against before you start. You can't just fire in the darkness. The things that may have worked for you to have a great relationship, had you done them since you were dating and being consistent throughout the courtship and throughout the marriage, are not the same things that are going to turn around your marriage when it's at the brink of divorce. Brink of divorce is not just something which is official or formal, like divorce papers are served. Brink of divorce is a mental spot she gets to, which can be even before she says, I want a divorce. By the time she says that, she has thought about it many times. She has cried about it. She has ruminated about it. She may have even discussed it with other people. So, back to the five love languages. She may like words of appreciation, but if you say it, she doesn't want it from you because she has an image of you stuck in her head, which makes her feel when you express your appreciation to her, you're not being authentic. You're not being genuine. You're not sincere. You have an agenda. You're manipulating her. Again, different ways of how these images present itself. So just to go and express appreciation to her will backfire and has already been backfiring for many of you guys. Move on to physical touch, whatever the love language is. And I'm not even getting involved in the science of love languages, how accurate it is. Once you have marriage cancer, once she has the image stuck in her head, it does not work anymore. You have to address that image. And the first step is to understand that image. You have to understand what marriage cancer is, what subconscious communication is, what is this cat and waiter thing that I mentioned before. That's the area where she's getting stuck. And from there, yes, you can go through the five phases, understanding the correct sequence of the steps that need to be implemented in your relationship in the right order. It is also important once you have a correct picture of what that image is, of what is stuck in her mind, what is keeping her stuck, then you need to move on to go through the correct phases of rebuilding your relationship. If you want to rebuild an emotional connection, emotional intimacy, real trust and respect and friendship in your marriage, there's a process you got to follow where I'll use an analogy where you're going from knocking on the door to her opening the door to you sitting on the couch and talking to you sleeping in the basement to you moving into the bedroom with her. I'm speaking in emotional terms because there are different rooms in a woman's heart. There's a process of going from one stage to the next. You need to follow it. A lot of guys skip it. They try to go straight to the couch or to the basement or to the bedroom without first knowing how to knock on the door or open the door or have a conversation on the couch, etc. That's why it's important to watch that video to get the clarity on the phases and understanding that these phases are real. There is science. It exists. It's like gravity. You can't fight it. If you don't respect gravity, you're going to run into problems sooner or later or fall into problems to be more accurate. But it all starts with this. Ultimately, the first missing ingredient is not focusing on the image that is stuck in her head. After that, yes, are you doing too much? Are you not doing the right phases? Fine, you'll get to that. But you first have to start with knowing this. And I'll tell you what, it's the scariest thing because when you do this in the correct way, and this is what I help guys do initially, you come face to face with the part of you built up in her brain that she's actually talking to. So it might look to you like she's talking to you right now, but she's not. She's not talking to you. She's talking to the memory of you, the accumulated memory. And there's a specific science and process she uses. She doesn't realize it. It's subconscious. It happens automatic. You can't even fight it. You have to understand it before you try to change it or influence it. There's a very unique way that she's picking up and accumulating a piece, a little piece, another piece, another little piece. Together, it forms a picture of you stuck in her head that she's actually talking to. So it could be a piece of you from 12 years ago and a part of you from 8 years ago, something you said yesterday, and something she misunderstood about a conversation you had a couple of months ago, and together it forms something in her head. A lot of guys don't want to face it. They would rather just go right ahead and work on the marriage. And I understand where you're coming from and respect the fact that you have a desire to turn around your relationship. But having a desire to turn around your relationship is not the same actually turning it around. You may have a desire to see a sunset, but if you're facing east, you're not going to see a sunset, even with the most sincere desire. So it's vital to actually step back and at the very beginning, at the first phase, regardless of whatever else you're doing right now or using for your marriage to turn around your relationship, you have to understand what is that picture? What builds that picture? It's absolutely vital. And when I work with guys, if they don't agree to this step as being first and the most important, there's no point for us to have a further conversation. This is where everything starts and the foundation from where everything else can grow. And if you ask her, she can't tell you because she doesn't trust you enough. If you ask her, she won't tell you, or she will give you information which is absolutely unhelpful. If you come to your wife and you say, "Oh, tell me, what's the image you have of me?" She doesn't think it's an image. She thinks that's actually you. So she's not going to come and say, "Well, I think you're manipulative here. I think you're not willing to change over here. I think this part of you is selfish. This part of you angry." She's not going to do that. First of all, she's not fully aware of the way women process information. They can't necessarily articulate and verbalize. But the deeper issue is she doesn't trust you enough to share that information with you. But there's a deeper issue. It's not just about a lack of trust that she doesn't feel safe enough to share with you. The issue is if you say that, you're basically telling her you're clueless. You're confirming to her that you don't really know what's going on in her heart or mind, which is something she already suspected or has confirmed for a number of years. You don't want to do that because it actually sets you back in the process of reconciliation, of healing your relationship. The key will be here in the beginning is to show her you know her mind without talking to her, without interviewing her, because she'll see it as an interrogation. If you come and start asking questions, she's going to see it as a form of control, a form of desperation, or just a big, clumsy expression of cluelessness. I'll put it this way: your marriage problems didn't happen overnight. You probably weren't even aware of it for a number of years when they did start. Give yourself some grace. It takes some time. Study the 3 trainings I've given you under this video. And then if you're ready to step up and apply this to your marriage and get the skills that you need, you can reach out and book a call with me.